Welcome to week 11 of the NFL. Last week I had some brutal losses, but no excuses. I was 2-4 against the spread, which brings my record to 26, 28-3. But on a bright note, I nailed another upset special, which brings my season record to 7-2-2. So let's move on to this week. I have a Super 7 for you this coming Sunday and Monday. So let's get things kicked off with a special Thursday night edition. I like the Saints plus 3.5 over the Panthers. Very quietly this year, the Saints' front seven has gotten better every week, which I look for it to continue this week against the Panthers' offensive line, which has some holes in it. I know Ryan Khalil will be back at center, but he won't be at 100%. So I look for the Saints' athleticism to make things difficult for Cam to step up in the pocket and look downfield to his receivers. And I expect Peyton to have one of his safeties as a spy for Cam to leak out for his scrambles. And on offense for the Saints, I think Drew Brees will use a quick passing game to wear out the Panthers' D-line as the game goes on. And Drew has too many weapons at receiver for all the Panthers' secondary to handle, as they don't have much depth back there. So the Saints get an upset victory on this Thursday. Now for some of the Sunday games. I like the Titans plus 3 over the Colts. Very quietly, Mariota is having a breakout year, and I look for that to continue this week. I think he'll be able to throw the ball downfield to Wright and Walker and company, as he'll have lots of time in the pocket as the Colts D-line doesn't apply too much pressure. And to make things easier on Mariota, he won't have to win the game by itself, as he'll have his friends Murray and Henry in the backfield to chew up clock and wear out the Colts defense as the game goes on, and leave Mr. Luck with the best seat in the house of watching the game from the sideline in long stretches. And the Titans defense will be able to harass Luck all day, as the Colts O-line has a lot of holes, and the D-line of the Titans will be able to pressure him lots. For my next pick, I like the Cardinals plus 1 over the Vikings. Both of these teams have great defenses, but I think Carson Palmer will be able to do some things with his speed and depth at receiver, and to make things easier for him, top safety Rhodes for the Vikings may miss this game with a concussion, and outside linebacker Kendricks might be out in this game too, which will help the blocking of the Cards O-line, and he'll have lots of help from Johnson in the backfield to keep things balanced. And I think with the balance, it will end with Diggs, their only receiver with speed. I look for Peterson to rough him up, which will put more pressure on Bradford. Yes, the Vikings lose their 5th game in a row. For my next pick, I like the Seahawks -5.5 over the Eagles. The Seahawks impressed me by going to the Patriots and beating New England, and I look for that to carry over at home against the Eagles with their fierce D-line and linebacking core with this and their speed to give lots of problems to Wentz and his receivers. And I like the Hawks to keep it on the ground as well, to wear out the pass rushers of the Eagles and set up some play action passes later in the game for Wilson and his receivers. And I don't think their linebackers will be able to cover Jimmy Graham in this one. For my next pick, I like the Redskins -2.5 over the Packers. I look for the combination of Morgan, Breland, and company to not give much airspace for Aaron Rodgers and his receivers to break away from, which will frustrate Aaron and have to settle for his running backs, which I think the speed of the Redskins front seven will do the job against them. And on offense, I look for Cousins to use his double tight ends for some key 3rd and shorts to move the chains, and they have way too much speed at receiver for the Packers secondary to handle, especially if Jackson comes back from his injury, which all points are looking towards he will. For my next pick, I like the Raiders -5.5 over the Texans on Monday night. This game will be playing in Mexico City. Saying that, the Raiders are very familiar with Osweiler, with playing against him twice last year while he was with the Broncos. And I think the Raiders' D-line will give all sorts of problems for Brock in the pocket, as I think he'll be sacked and under lots of heat, as he's not that mobile in the pocket. And I think on offense, the Raiders will be able to pound the Texans on the ground, which, as they've been showing some leakage in their run D, and this will open up things for Card down the field with Cooper and Crabtree and friends. So I look for them to take this game seriously, to keep pace with the Chiefs and Broncos as they're in a 3-headed heat for on top of the division. Now, what you've all been waiting for, Yes, the Week 11 upset alert of the week. I like the Bills plus 2.5 over the Bengals. Coming out of the bye for the Bills, I look for them to be re-energized to face the Bengals as they're coming off a short week Monday night. Saying that, I look for them to pound the Bengals middle of their D with McCoy, Gillespie, and quarterback runs with Taylor. And I think the Bengals will have trouble with Taylor's mobility in the pocket, which will open things up down the field for some long bombs against the questionable DBs of the Bengals. And I look for them to win both lines of scrimmages and put Dalton under lots of heat all day. And what you might not know is Rex Ryan is very familiar with the Bengals and Marvin Lewis's coaching abilities with being the defensive coordinator for the Ravens for years and faced Lewis for twice a year while with the Ravens. So I look for them to even the record at 5-5 and send the Bengals to a step closer to missing the playoffs. So for a quick recap of my picks, here they are, and good luck everybody.